Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video today. Bit of a feedback video, go through some of the comments on recent videos, see what's been happening there in the comment section, and also a bit of an update on what is happening in Spain at the moment as we count down to Christmas, getting ever closer to that magic day. Remember that here in Spain, the 24th of December is the big day, so tomorrow, and then Christmas Day, a little bit low key compared to what it's like back home, for example, where Christmas Day is normally the big celebration with family. Yesterday, as we know, the Spanish Christmas lottery took place. Lots of happy people around Spain at the moment. I think there was a town in Catalonia that got a big share of the prize, a couple of other places down there in Andalusia, and various prize amounts scattered throughout the country. And as I said, lots of people obviously celebrating today. I think some of the people that shared the first prize were working at a company that's had its fair share of problems throughout 2020. Quite a few workers were laid off or put into furlough schemes, so people in that particular company very, very happy to have won the gordo, or the main prize in the lottery this year. I, of course, didn't win anything. You have to be in it to win it. If you haven't got a ticket, which is my case, obviously you're not going to win anything. And I think my girlfriend won about €4, but if you compare that to the amount of money that she spent, not a very good return on investment. Now, a lot of the autonomous communities today have opened their borders to allow people to return home for Christmas. I think Valencia is the only place in Spain, or the Valencian community, the only place in Spain that is going to keep its borders closed. The rest are allowing people to return home to spend time with their families over the Christmas period. There's only a brief window because I think immediately after Christmas people have to return to their place of origin, but they'll be allowed to travel again over the New Year's period when a new window opens up again. I also think various autonomous communities are asking people for documentation when they travel home this year. You have to have some type of documentation that proves where you're going to spend Christmas, just in case you get stopped by the police or the civil guard. Now, as we've seen in recent times, numbers are going up again here in Spain. Madrid in particular has seen an increase in recent times. The Madrid government has come out today and blamed this increase on the long weekend we had a couple of weeks ago. Remember that before that long weekend the situation was improving, but ever since then it's been going up and up and up and up. So not good news here in Madrid, especially with Christmas upon us, and I shudder to think what the numbers are going to be like in 3 weeks' time. We saw yesterday that the Mayor of Madrid is setting up the riot squad again here in Madrid with the municipal police. He said he's going to use their squad to take care of the illegal parties or gatherings that might happen over the Christmas period. You hear a piece of news like that and think that the Mayor, Mr. Almeida, is a little bit heavy-handed, but I think he's just taking advantage of the situation to set the riot squad back up again in Madrid, because his predecessor, Manuela Carmena from the Mas Madrid group, which is aligned with Podemos, got rid of the riot squad back in her time in office in 2016. So as I said, I think he's just taking advantage of the current situation. Now, you've probably seen the images on the TV that the COVID-19 vaccine is on its way to Spain. I think it has left the warehouse in Brussels and is making its way down to the country as I speak. Most likely stuck in traffic, because I imagine that there's lots and lots of trucks on the roads at the moment making their way back to Spain, having been stuck in the UK for the last few days. And somebody in the comment section asked whether the vaccine is going to be mandated here in Spain. Well, the official answer is no. The government has said from the beginning that they're not going to make it compulsory to take the vaccine, but various autonomous communities in Andalusia springs to mind, because the president down there in Andalusia, Juanma Moreno, said a few days ago that the vaccine will be mandatory if you want to attend events with a lot of people, for example, a football game, concert, other places where a lot of people gather. The Madrid president has said something similar. They're talking about a vaccination book here in Madrid, which will most likely have one of these Q codes, which will be scanned before you go to an event with a lot of people, and whether you get into the venue or not will depend on whether you've been vaccinated. So compulsory, obligatory, mandatory, no. But if you want to do certain things like travel, go to a concert, go to a football game, then they're going to require you to get the vaccine. And of course, there were many comments on yesterday's video about the marijuana situation here in Spain. We saw how these illegal marijuana houses are popping up all around the country. A very lucrative business. And we also saw the example of the two pensioners that had something like half a ton of hash in their camper van and were casually cruising up and down the country distributing the drug. Somebody mentioned that they must have watched too many episodes of Breaking Bad during the lockdown, and they decided to become Spain's version of Walter White. A lot of people in the comment section saying that Spain should legalize marijuana. Somebody said that Spain should take advantage of the cash cow that is marijuana. There could be an enormous benefit for a country like Spain to get this product out of the black market, to get it legalized, to start getting the taxes from it, because the war on drugs obviously here in Spain is not working. In fact, I don't think it's ever worked in any country around the world. The government seems to spend millions and millions of euros trying to stop it, but it keeps on coming through because it's impossible to stop. Morocco seems to have an endless supply of hashish, and they send it through places in Cadiz. And of course, the drug trade in that particular part of the world causes enormous social problems as well. But the legalization of drugs like marijuana doesn't seem to be a topic that politicians are talking about in this country, and I don't know what the reason for that is. Obviously, the government feels that it's easier to get money from other sources rather than legalizing something like marijuana, but I definitely think the country should be having a strong debate about this topic. And the topic of barbecues and barbecuing was quite prominent in the comment section yesterday. People talking about some of the great barbecues that they have had around the world in places like Argentina. I said in yesterday's video that in my opinion you can find the best barbecues in the Americas. They seem to have more of a slow cooking style when it comes to barbecues, not like we have in Australia where you just slap on the meat and get it done as quickly as possible. And that's also what happens here in Spain with the typical outdoor barbecue. There are some places, however, somebody mentioned the Basque Country, that they do barbecuing up in that part of Spain very, very well, but the typical barbecue in this part of the world is just whack on the chorizo, whack on the pancetta, cook it as quickly as you can, and away you go. I recently saw a show on Netflix where they tried to find the best barbecuer in the United States, and I saw that the secret to that type of barbecuing was that you need to cook the meat for a long period of time at a low heat. But it was a fantastic show, and if you've got Netflix, check it out. And I also saw a comment from somebody who said that they were planning to come to Spain and teach English, but were a little bit worried about the logistics when it comes to finding a flat, getting a job and things along those lines, and asked me to talk about some of the experiences that I had when I first came to Spain to live back in 1998. So that's what I'll do. I'll give you an idea of what it was like for me. I must say that this was around 22 years ago, so it was a lot different back then, especially when it comes to finding a place for rent. But basically what I did before I made my permanent move was that I came to Madrid a couple of months before. I got a feeling of what the city was like a day to day. I made a few contacts. I checked out the work situation, the best ways to find work in a city like Madrid. Of course, nowadays to find a place to rent or to find a job you use the internet, but that wasn't the case back then. You had to use a newspaper, you had to use some type of classified advertisements to find a place to rent or to find a job. I remember you'd be able to walk around the streets in Madrid looking for a place to rent because every place would have a sign in the window saying se alquila, normally a number below. So you'd walk around, look for the signs, and then make a few phone calls. Nowadays you go to a website like Idealista or Fotocasa, but I'm sure that you can still find a place to live in a city like Madrid by using traditional methods. For example, going to an apartment building, talking to the portero, to the doorman. Those are the people that have the information, and they can normally tell you if there are places for rent in the building. And when it comes to finding a job teaching English nowadays, you can do that online as well. You can organize the job interviews before you come. There's always places looking to hire teachers. Some places are better than others. Some people pay more than others, but it's not normally difficult to find a job teaching English in Madrid. Of course, it might not be as easy as it was a couple of years ago before the pandemic, but I'm sure that things will start to get back to normal once we get this health situation under control. On that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the situation out as you normally do. Tell us about your experiences finding a place to rent or getting a job here in Spain. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.